Hey, let's talk Chicago. So, if you follow my feed, you probably noticed that husband and I went to a convention in Chicago this past weekend. And full disclosure, I happily jumped on that plane to go to Chicago because who doesn't love Chicago? Um, but I wasn't super excited about that convention because I personally do not like sitting in meetings all day long listening to people talk. And I get that some people enjoy it and they absorb it. I'm just not that person. I'm not a note taker. I tend to kind of fade out and think about everything I should be doing. However, they caught my attention and caught it big. So if you notice in my post, I alluded to the fact that we're not going to have a bubble burst or a housing crisis or crash or whatever you want to call it, whatever the headlines are calling it. And the reason being, it's factual. So that's not just, oh, guys, I'm a realtor. We're not going to have a crash. Like, call me. I promise you. And I'm not saying this to be ugly. I'm just saying it to be factual, truthful. I've been just as busy this year, if not busier than previous years. So this isn't a desperation, call me. I'm going to make you think it's one thing and it's really not. This is let's talk about facts. So I don't know if you've heard of a man named Barry Abib. Some of you probably have. My husband has told me all about him. He is a mortgage lender. He gets really geeked up on this stuff and he talks about it a lot. And sometimes I zone him out too. But he grabs my attention. And so he pointed out simple facts, guys, that make complete sense if you really break it down and think about it and chew on it. So 2007, what happened? Okay, many of you probably remember 2007. I certainly do because at the time, my husband was the breadwinner, the only breadwinner. We had two small children at home. Um, and so, our income was based on mortgages. Well, we had a crash. Why do we have a crash? We had a crash because people had overbought houses. Their houses were appraising for more than they should have appraised for. People were overpaying for houses. They had no equity in their houses. And so there were many, many foreclosures. Okay, why behind that though? Okay, I gave you a little small piece of the puzzle based on what we were told from the media. Some of what we heard. I mean, some of that's true for people all day long, not dumbing it down. However, let's look at the facts behind 2007. 2007, we had a surplus of new construction. New construction here specifically. I know other areas of the country, but I'm talking Madison, Jackson, Brandon, our area, okay? That drives our prices. So we had a surplus of new construction. That's your supply, economics 101, okay? Demand, where does demand come from? Buyer pool. Your buyer pool is typically looked at as the 30 somethings. That's your biggest pool. Now, 30-year-olds are not the only ones buying houses. I did not say that. What I did say is that's the meat of your buyer pool, okay? The ones in 2007, that buyer pool, they were born early to mid 1970s. I'm going to put a chart of the birth rates up that'll show you where birth rates were in 1970, 75-ish. Take a look. Now, with that being said, let's talk about today. So today, we have birth rates based on 1990s, early to mid 90s, right? Higher birth rates. I'm going to put up the chart. You'll see that the birth rates were higher in the 90s than they were in the 70s. Okay, that's your demand. Where's our supply today? Low. If you look around, you're starting to see builders come back out again. But guys, I mean, honestly, I don't know how many conversations you've had with people in the new construction world. That has been horrible lately, not just from the aspect of, labor issues, getting houses built on time. supply issues, cost to build, those guys have been beat up. Okay, so you have that along with the fact that they're hesitant to come back out again because of all of the headlines you're hearing about a housing crash. They're not going to stick their necks out. And then to top it off, good grief, they can't. I mean, it's costing them so much more to build and double the time, not literally, but I mean, good grief, like the timing is nowhere near what it used to be. Now it's getting better, but say all that to say our supply is low. So, friends, heads up, a large buyer pool, which means a large demand, a low production rate on new construction. We're seeing some come back out again, like I said, but what does that mean? That doesn't mean we're going to have a crash. That means strap on your seatbelts, friends. This spring, this summer is going to look a lot like last year, only from the standpoint of a buyer, I'm concerned it might be worse. So if you're waiting for lower prices, I'm not seeing the trajectory going down. I'm definitely seeing it go up. Call us if you want to list. We need listings for sure. But like I told you at the beginning of this is not me trying to do what the media has done and fear you into contacting me to buy right now for fear that I might have to overpay in 2 months. This is me giving you factual information that's supported by data. Tune back in. We'll be around.